What a great day to sew something wonderful. I'm Kia with Kia Beat, and I'm so excited to be back with you today. We are talking about New Year's Eve 12 by 12. I'm very excited. We're just a couple of days away. I have all my projects kitted up and put into just a big basket. That way I can just go hour by hour and pull those projects. So I thought I would share with you the 12 projects that I've chosen to start this New Year's Eve. If you're unfamiliar with what hashtag NYE12X12 is, I started it a few years ago. I have a couple of videos on it, one that I did this year explaining the process, but just shorthand. It is basically where I start at noon on New Year's Eve and work all the way till midnight. I chose 12 new projects, one to start each hour. And I'll be honest, when I was pulling 12 by 12 this year, I thought, I have so many whips. And starting 12 new projects seems daunting. But as I was kitting them up yesterday, I thought, okay, I can do this and I can make a plan for my year to really tackle whips, which is why this whole thing even started, was that I was giving myself a window of new starts so that I can tackle whips throughout the year and not feel too pressured to start a bunch of things throughout, the normal months. So with all of that being said, I would love to have you join us. We just used the hashtag NYE12X12. I know there are a couple of Zoom meetings happening throughout the day. I will go live on Instagram 4 times throughout the day. I'll do a big kickoff at noon, and I'm actually going to have a special guest at most of the lives. So at noon, I'll do a big kickoff, and then about 12:15, we're going to have Shelly join us from Antique Needleworkers. I'm super excited about that. She's going to talk about her 2024 plans and kind of what she's doing in her whips. Very excited to have her. Then I will go live again at 4 o'clock, and we are actually going to have the Stitch Your Stash girls. So I'm very excited to have Alicia and Jessica join us, and that will be so wonderful. They're going to talk about what it means to stitch your stash and the groups that they've created through that. Then at 8 o'clock, we are going to have my friends, the Floss Boss and Cousins. I'm very excited to have them on. They just bring such fun energy. And at 8 o'clock at night, when we're all getting tired, that's going to be a great live to have. And I actually think they're going to do a giveaway, which will be super fun. All of these things are going to happen on my Instagram channel. And then those girls are all going to join us. And then about 11:30, I'll go live again just to wrap up the evening. Wish you all a happy new year right before the ball drops. So if that is something that you would like to participate in, it does not have to be 12 new starts. You can work on 12 whips that you have. You can just dedicate one project for the entire 12 hours. You could work on 6 whips, 2 hours each, whatever your time, schedule, and resources allow. It's really more just about the community that we have and what we've built here in the cross stitch community, which is just super fun. So with all of that being said, let's get into some of my whips. I just created a basket. You'll see that I have done everything in manila envelopes. I have realized I do not have enough project bags. And so I don't love the the waterproof bags from Amazon. I'm finding out that I don't love those as much. They're not holding up very well. And manila envelopes aren't going to hold up very long either, but they're just a place marker until I can get some new project bags. So with all of that being said, it'll be just a fun weekend of stitching. I think I'm gonna have a couple of extra teenagers in my house for the day, so they're gonna be busy with video games and things like that. So I thought mom needs some time to dedicate to some projects as well. This year, our theme has been 12 projects from magazines. I've encouraged you to shop around your house for magazines or books that you already own and pull either ornaments or small projects or big projects, really, throughout those magazines and books, really just to get us to use up some of our stash. With that being said, I have chose one outside, one that is a book that I already purchased. It was a gift from a friend. And then the other 11 I've chose out of the same magazines. Let me grab that and show that. I had forgotten to grab that right before I started. So I actually chose 11 projects out of the series Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly. And so I chose 12 projects out of that. Now, I don't actually have that many magazines of theirs. I would love to build up my physical copy collection of these. I just think they're stunning. Each book is fascinating, has a ton of information in it. I've shown these on our channel before. I bought these on eBay. This one has a really in-depth history about, you guys are screaming at me at what these are called, and it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, they choose different tools and things that we use in our needlework, and thimbles. They're called thimbles. You all were screaming at me, I'm sure. So this has a really in-depth history on thimbles. This one has a pretty in-depth history on scissors. And so it's really interesting articles. Well, since I don't have very big of a stash, they actually make this, and you can purchase on a 1-2-3 Stitch. I purchased mine on Amazon. If I had known 1-2-3 Stitch had it, I would have purchased it there. It's actually a little bit cheaper through 1-2-3 Stitch. But this is the Sampler and Antique Needlework Complete Collection. This is a quarterly magazine that started in 1991 all the way through 2015. This has 80 issues of the magazine on it. Phenomenal information. I only made it through the first 20, really. So sorry, the cat has decided it's playtime in the office. So I only actually made it through the first 20. There's anywhere from 4 to 6 or 8 patterns per magazine, which is amazing. And so like this one, for instance, beautiful, beautiful. So this sampler is actually in there, and this is not one that I chose to start. And I really should have. I'm not sure why I didn't. But here's another beautiful one. This is Anne Eliza Primer sampler. Look at that. I mean, just some beautiful things. So it took me quite a while to go through and decide what I wanted to start. And so the disc has, it's a CD-ROM, so you do have to have a drive for that with your computer, but it has complete collection of each magazine. So from front cover to back cover, it has every single page. So you would get a history of all of the thimbles. You would get your full history of all the scissors. It's just great information. So keep that in mind. If you see those, they're great if samplers are right up your alley. So with that being said, I chose 11 projects from Sampler and Antique Needlework. So enough gabbing, let me share those with you. I will very first share with you the one that is not from those magazines. It is from a book that I have, that I was gifted a couple of years ago from my friend Katie. This is the Department 56 Heritage Village Collection. I believe there are 4 books in this series. Liz received some as well. And we were trying to determine if there are 3 or 4 books in this series. I'd love to complete the collection, just haven't been able to do that yet. But I chose, and I just kind of feel like this is fitting. If you don't know, my dad and I actually have quite the family village going. And it is over 125 buildings. I film it every year and we put it on my channel. So you can go back a couple of videos and see that. But this year I get a new piece every year, a new formal piece every year. This year is kind of fitting. They came out with a hospital. And so our village now has a hospital, which is fantastic. And as I was thumbing through these pages, I found a doctor's office. Is that not precious? Now, each one in this book has this broken brick border, which I absolutely love that detail. And then as you progress through the books, they have different broken borders like that. So I will show you. Now, these are modeled after actual Department 56 village pieces. So here is the actual doctor's office. Sorry, The cat's gonna get in the closet now. But here's, I love this sentiment. So this piece was issued in 1991, and then they retired it in 94. This says, sniffles and coughs, bruises and bumps, the doctor will soothe all these pains. He even has something to comfort stiff knees that ache and swell when it rains. There's always advice to make you think twice, to regulate diet and sleep. His wisdom is plain and his patience will gain if they're new resolutions they keep. So I just thought that was absolutely perfect. So they pick a little poem for each piece, Department 56 does, and that is the piece. So this is the book I'm doing. I promise I won't take that much explanation for each piece, but let me show you what I'm working this on. I did called for DMC, which actually I'm just gonna trust the process in this because it's definitely not the colors that I would choose, but how I've set up each of my 12 by 12, and this is actually true for all of my whips, I just have a library card that I put the information on. So this one says the doctor's office. Oh, it's supposed to say up in the top there, hashtag NYE 12 by 12 2023. So I know when I've started it. And then I am doing 46 count sugar cream pie. Now, again, this is a trust the process because this is not a palette that I would typically go for. We have some very neon colors in there, but I know with full coverage pieces, that tends to happen. So I've actually cut this piece quite large. This is 46 count sugar cream pie by Bee Stitch Me. I've cut this piece quite large. It'll go like this because I'm wondering if I don't want to do like one or two or three buildings per thing and then frame that to have like a little village setting. But that is the beautiful fabric. And if you would allow me to, I'm going to put everything back in its envelope so I don't misplace anything. Yesterday, I had floss and fabric quite literally everywhere in my office trying to get all organized. Now, my DMC is not dropped yet. I've just chosen to drop it all on community floss drops. So these are ones that have been given to me. And that's what I did for the whole thing. I just used everybody's floss drops. So, okay, now let's get into Sampler and Antique Needlework magazine. Okay, this first one is Strawberry Border, and maybe I should have opened each of these. Okay, so I've just printed these off of my printer from that CD-ROM, so the pictures aren't stellar, but this is Strawberry Border Sampler. Isn't this gorgeous? So I've done a little bit of color conversion for this one. And actually, to be honest, with most of them, I have done a little bit of color conversion. I will tell you, I am using 40 count Pampas Grass by Color and Cotton. It is definitely like a green brown, which is very pretty. And then I have just mixed in floss that I've already purchased. Now, here's something, as I'm putting this away, here's something I want to talk to you about. A lot of people say there's no way I could start 12 by 12. I just couldn't afford to start 12 new projects at a time. I fully understand that. This is something that all year I know I'm prepping for. And so I will kit up projects all year long, just so that because I know New Year's Eve is coming. I know this is something I've enjoyed for several years now. And so I will pick up floss and fabric throughout the entire year. Now, that's not to say I will pick up, like I will kit projects. I don't know in January what I'm going to stitch the following December. What I do is I just pick up things that I like throughout the year. And then like yesterday, 6 of these projects, I just kit from my stash, from fabric I have from Bee Stitch Me, or Color and Cotton, which is both subscription kits that I hold, or I just open my overdyed drawer and kit my own color schemes with whatever I like. I ordered 6 projects worth of DMC this year. I spent about $40 on DMC and that's it. So, you know, it's just something I know I'm preparing for all year long. So I fully understand the cost of having to kit up 12 new projects overnight. This next one is the Hannah Harrison sampler. This very much screamed modern folk embroidery to me. I don't know why, I just think it's beautiful. And I really wanted something that was almost solid fabric, not over dyed. And so I really wanted to stick with this like very warm orangish brown color. I thought this was black. It actually is not. The called for here is a really deep navy color. Let me tell you exactly what it is. It is 3750, which is an antique, very dark blue. And so I just thought this was stunning. So what I've done here is I've done 40 count color and cotton, a sampler. Oh, I'm going to pronounce that wrong. I'm so sorry. And then I had some threadworks from a project that I was doing over the summer that I did not like this color for. And so if you might be able to see, it's a really deep navy blue. And I thought I have 2 hanks of this. That will be perfect to complete this project. So I've got that one. I think this is beautiful. And it does give you a little bit of history as to what Sampler and Antique Needlework found for this sampler. And so that's been super interesting to thumb through those and read about that. Sorry, I'm trying to go faster and I keep talking. Okay. The next one is the black miniature sampler. This is beautiful. Now, some of my samplers that I'm starting are small. Some of them are quite large. This one, I definitely wanted to keep a black thread, so I'm just doing Anchor color 403, and then I'm putting this on 36 count. This is Grace Note Fabrics in the color Cappuccino. I chose Anchor Floss because it is a little bit thicker, so I think on a 36 count, it'll give me that rustic coverage that I'm looking for and be stunning. So that is this one. I need a sidekick here to stuff all my envelopes back up. Okay. The next one is so sorry. The next one is the 1816 Ann Stone sampler. Now, these I definitely wanted to kind of change my colors a little bit. It's not reading on camera very well, but these seem very bright, very like turquoise blue. And so I wanted to, sorry, the cat is trying to come up here. I wanted to change my colors a little bit with this. So I primmed it up a little bit. I'm doing 40 count color and cotton and spiced honey. And here are my colors that I've traded to. So that is 1816 Ann Stone. I'll show you that one more time. It's beautiful. Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to pause and open each one of these envelopes, which is what I should have done ahead of time. And that way it maybe will go a little bit quicker. The next one, I think this one is, again, beautiful. You won't find one that I'm going to start that I don't think is gorgeous. This one is called the 1765 Queen Charlotte Sampler. I loved the monochromatic view of this. Just the, like, all browns. I wanted to stick to all browns. So that's what I did. I had several, actually I believe November or October's kit for Bee Stitch Me with their silks were all browns. So this was a really easy choice for me. And I'm gonna do this on 46 count Fox and Rabbit in Saltbush. So that is, oh, maybe if I hold them to this side, it's actually a little bit better. So that is going to be Queen Charlotte Sampler. And I will show you that picture one more time. Here is, actually I'll show you. You can't see it very well, but there is the original. And it says, it is the quote, "Tell me, ye knowing and discerning few, where I may find a friend both firm and true, who dare stand by me when in deep distress, and then his love and friendship most express." And it has a list of a bunch of women's names, which I just think is beautiful. You will see a theme kind of throughout my stitching this year. Okay, it's speaking of theme, the next one is called the Friendship Sampler. This has some of my samplers do have specialty stitches in it, so I am definitely going to be growing this year in my stitching. This has some diamond eyelet stitching in those pineapples, and I believe it was Liz that was telling me, I believe it was Liz. If it's not, I might be wrong. The symbolism in samplers of pineapples. You should look that up. It's fascinating. This says, how much to be prized and loved is a friend, on who we may with safety depend. Joy when extended will always increase, and griefs when divided are hushed into peace. I mean, are we joking? Like, that is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. So I am going to do this on 46 count sand dollar, and I did a floss conversion. This is Sand Dollar by Bee Stitch Me, and I've just done my own floss conversion for what I felt like was a good kind of darker primmed up version of this sampler. Okay, next is one that has a lot of DMC, so let me not spill it everywhere. This is Sarah Ann Biggin, and this one is just stunning. Sarah Ann Biggin. That house, oh, I love it. It will be a while before I make it to that house. I'm a bottom left-hand start, and so it will be a while before I make it to the house, but it's beautiful. It says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Sarah Ann Biggin, February 1841. Beautiful. I'm going to do this with the called for DMC, and this is on lightly salted, not roasted by Bee Stitch Me, and it's beautiful DMCs. There's not really a good way to hold this all up. I need some better adjectives besides beautiful and stunning, and I just repeat myself. Okay. This next one is Quaker Medallion Sampler, and then there's also a bell pull chart in here for this as well, where they took out some of the motifs, but look at that. The swan in there. I attended an online retreat with R&R Reproductions, and she was telling us the definition behind several motifs in a sampler, and the swan is actually the deepest connection that you can have with a person, like that fidelity, that deep friendship that you can have with someone. So I've really been drawn to those recently. I loved the color scheme, the darker neutral fabric, and these DMCs I will have no issue with whatsoever. This is, let me pull the card for this one. This is 46 count Fiber on a Whim, Color Happens. It is a green neutral, and then here are the floss colors for this. And then I'll just drop those again on some floss cards given to me by the community, just different people. It's fun to do that. So then when you're pulling those out, you're kind of thinking about who gave them to you and all the things. Okay. Next is Susanna Hardiman. Here is the actual original. And then again, Sampler and Antique Needlework gives you whatever information they have, but the different urns here, I mean, this one's quite in depth. This one is going to be a big one, and there's quite a few specialty stitches in this house. I'm not sure if I will do these specialty stitches. I really like the look of just a uniform house, but we'll see. We'll see what I decide to do. This is going to be Color and Cotton 40 count barley, and then very monotone, monochromatic look of browns and greens. And that will be beautiful. Now that one will be one that takes quite a while to finish. Some of these are very small. Some of them are quite large. Some of them look big, but are actually fairly small. The next one is a kind reward. No, it doesn't matter for the paper. And this one, I liked the house. I really like the full coverage of grass. I love the border on this one. So I am going with a 46 count fox and rabbit and saltbush. And then called for DMC on these as well. Very, very pretty. Okay, and then my 12th and final one. Now these I did not say in order of which I'm gonna do them. I actually don't know my order just yet, but I will. This one is the Martha Smith sampler, small. This one's very small. And I just love it's a marking sampler. It had a purpose and I loved it. So I called for DMC for that, and I'm gonna do this on a Mystery Bee Stitch Me 46 count. Look at these called for, you guys. They're beautiful. Let me see if I don't know if I can lay them out and hold them at the same time, but maybe. Here we go. Look at that colorway. Love it. So, okay, if you've stuck around all the way to the end, thank you so much for doing so. So those are my 12 projects. I'm very excited and anxious to get a good start on them. We are, I'm just, it's New Year's Eve. I'm very excited to get some stitches in. Now, I have watched several videos this week on who is planning on participating in 12 by 12. And there are some fantastic ones out there with great tips. So I don't want to list them out because I don't want to forget one that I've watched. But if you, in your YouTube search or even in a Google search, you can hashtag NYE 12 by 12 plans, 12x12 plans, several videos will pop up. And there is several great tips and things like that. One of my tips that I want to share with you is it's amazing how actual little stitching you get done in an hour. Don't be discouraged by that if you're working on a project for an hour. Don't be discouraged by that. Really just focus on getting a good start. One of the other tips I heard that was fantastic by my friend Sandy was take a couple stitches, like 1 or 2 stitches. That way your needle is loaded. Maybe the morning of or the night before so that your needle's not in your fabric very long. And take a couple stitches so you kind of know exactly where you're headed. Drop your floss before you, if you organize your floss, however you organize it, do that ahead of time. And cut your fabric ahead of time. So I've spent the last couple of days working on that and just kind of setting myself up for success. It is amazing how little stitching you actually get done, but it's a great time and it's going to be super great. So thank you so much for joining me in the hive today. I loved sharing all of my projects. I loved kind of shopping for all of my projects, and I don't know, it's been a lot of fun. So if you're joining, please let me know in the comments. If you're joining a Zoom room, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to see what everyone's plans are. So again, thank you for joining us in the hive, and y'all have a great day.